Mwahaha! Kneel before King Piccolo. The Demon King who ravaged Earth long ago now stands before his old enemy Son Goku once more. Having fused with all his sinister spawn, Piccolo's power has grown exponentially, so that now even lesser villains serve him. However, the Saiyan warrior is not afraid, and with a lopsided grin, Goku asks his comrades if they think he should do as Piccolo says. A gruff male voice barks that he better not if he has any respect for his Saiyan heritage, while a much silkier voice replies that he disagrees. Kneel, then tear the green man's throat out when he least expects it. The first voice retorts that such a tactic would be disgraceful, but the second speaker laughs he should really take that up with his eldest son, since he learned it from him. The first speaker growls, and Goku chuckles they need to break it up, since they're meant to be fighting Piccolo, not each other. Both voices agree, and so with two swift motions appear at the Saiyan's side. The first of them is a fellow Saiyan warrior, sharing Goku's hair and build, but with a much more callous demeanor, Bardock. The other is Perfect Cell, a smug smirk on the bug's lips, as he scoffs that he can't believe he's been reduced to Hell's janitor, before reminding Goku that he better not be late filling out his work release paperwork this month. Goku teases that he knows Cell loves these chances to help fight strong villains, but Bardock snaps at them both to shut up and focus on Piccolo. Piccolo, however, sneers that no, don't stop on his account. Their buffoonery reminds him of a jester he once had before he had the man killed, so he's happy to watch their show before he delivers them the same fate. Goku grins that he's afraid that's not going to happen, so Piccolo can either stop causing trouble, or they will stop him, and he can spend the next 10,000 years in a prison cell. Piccolo jeers that he would like to see Goku try, reminding him that last time they fought, he left the Saiyan near death, and since then he's grown thousands of times in strength. However, this doesn't faze Goku, who replies that yeah, so is he, as he transforms into a Super Saiyan. Piccolo, unable to sense ki, is unimpressed by this, right up until Goku launches up at him and with a single punch sends the Namekian flying. This startles Piccolo's followers who begin to flee, but this is why Cell and Bardock are here, and with lightning-fast precision, they subdue the baddies, as Goku joins them with an unconscious King Piccolo slung over his shoulder. Goku then thanks his two companions for their assistance, but Bardock nods that he's always happy to fight alongside Kakarot, while Cell leers he's just building up strength for the day when he can finally kill Goku, thus fulfilling his original programming. Bardock growls that if Cell tries, he'll be erased before he even gets within a foot of Kakarot, but Goku laughs that he knows Cell doesn't mean it. He's too smart to still be following Jiro's orders after all this time, and to be honest, he's actually a pretty okay guy, and a fun sparring partner too. Cell storms away, as if the praise of a hero disgusts him, but the Saiyans think they see a small grin on his face as he goes. Returning the captured villains to the Overseers who oversee this part of Hell, Goku takes a seat by the bloody pond. It has been 7 years since he was sent here, and not a day has gone by where he hasn't missed those he left behind. In his heart, he knows he made the right choice, but those early days in particular were hard. Hell was, well, a hellscape, and no matter how hard he tried to stand up to the villains wreaking havoc, he was only one man against an unending tide. Thankfully, after a while he managed to make some allies. At first Bardock was just looking for a fight to entertain himself, but when he learned who Goku was and all that he'd achieved, both in life and here in Hell, he was eager to join him. Cell came a while later, initially to avoid being put through the soul cleansing machine, but in time he too became a valuable member of Goku's Hell Fighters, using his power and vast array of techniques not only to help them stop bad guys, but also to push Goku and Bardock to always grow stronger. Together the three of them have managed to restore Hell to a relative level of peace, to the point where if Goku is to be stuck here forever, it won't be altogether terrible. Goku's reminiscing is then cut short by a tap on the shoulder from Mez, as the ogre tells him that he has a visitor. Curious as to who this might be, Goku follows the Red Oni over to a nearby cave where a cloaked figure is waiting. Pulling down the hood, Goku is surprised to see that his visitor is none other than Shin. The Supreme Kai greets Goku placidly, and Goku nods his own greeting. Shin then says that he hopes Goku holds him no ill will for banishing him here, since he was simply doing what he had to. Goku says he understands, but he hopes that in turn Shin understands that he was doing likewise when he left the lookout to save his son. Shin nods, and so Goku asks why he is here, saying that he doubts the Supreme Kai came all this way just to check if they're still friends after 7 years. Shin sighs that Goku is right. He's come with a proposition. Right now on Earth, a powerful wizard is trying to awaken a terrible threat named Majin Buu, and as it stands, Shin feels that he cannot prevent this alone. So if Goku is willing to use the single day he is entitled to back in the living world to help him stop the revival of Buu, then when they return to Otherworld, Shin will see to it that Goku is released from hell and allowed to come train on his world once again. Goku doesn't hesitate, agreeing as soon as Shin finishes speaking. Shrewdly, the Supreme Kai states that Goku would have agreed even if there had been no reward, wouldn't he? And when Goku confirms this, Shin smiles that this is why he is the best man for the job. He then calls for his associate to come out, and from the shadows steps a figure Goku knows well, fortune teller Baba. Baba grouses that time is money, so the Supreme Kai better be paying her handsomely to be wasting her time in a dump like this, to which Shin nods that he will see to it that Baba is properly compensated for her services. This is good enough for the witch, and so with a wrinkly smile she greets Goku at last, asking how he's holding up. Goku says that he's been alright, and Baba nods approvingly, saying that she knows her brother and his students have missed him, so they'll be happy to have him back. In fact, if Goku's willing to give her a little kickback, she'd be willing to notify the other Z-Fighters of his return so they can all meet him up on the lookout. Shin tells her to add it to his tab, since if they're going after Babidi and Buu, it would pay to have all of Goku's powerful friends to help them. Baba says she'll do it, and then with a wave of her hand, informs the two men that Goku should be able to traverse the living world for the next 24 hours without being pulled back into Otherworld. The Kai politely thanks her for her assistance, as Baba teleports herself away, and as she goes, her parting words are a warning not to tarry when it comes to paying her. Shin then asks Goku if he's ready to go, and the Saiyan says that he is, holding out an arm for the Supreme Kai before teleporting them away with Kai Kai. Moments later, Goku and Shin appear on the lookout, and unable to contain himself, Goku lets out an excited Yahoo after so many long years away. This draws the attention of the lookout's inhabitants, with Mr. Popo rushing outside and gasping when he sees who it is. At a much slower pace comes Gohan, now a man in his own right, and when he sees Goku, tears fill his glassy eyes, and with a hoarse cry he runs up and wraps Goku in a hug. The young man then begins to sob that he's sorry, so sorry for what happened, but Goku just pats him on the back, saying that it's alright, and he's happy to see him too. Popo then approaches with a smile, saying he doesn't know how Goku managed it, but he's happy to have him back, offering Goku his old guardian staff. Goku looks surprised, saying that isn't that Gohan's now? But Popo shakes his head sadly, saying that the young master continues to decline the position. Goku asks Gohan if that's true, and Gohan pulls away from his father to nod. Only now does Goku get a better look at his son's disheveled state, from the faded baggy clothes to the messy hair, pallid skin, and even the lifelessness in his heavily shadowed eyes. Heartbreaking, Goku asks what happened, and in a sympathetic tone, Mr. Popo says that the boy never really got over losing his parents. Goku isn't sure what to say, but he doesn't have time to figure it out, as moments later a trio of warriors land on the lookout. Goku goes over to greet Tien and Raditz, who both express their delight at having their leader back, before looking down at the youngest and smallest of the group. After a moment, Goku gasps and staggers back comedically, saying that this kid is Trunks, which the boy confirms, saying that he's really excited to finally meet Uncle Kakarot, and that he wants to fight the man right now. In a stern voice, Tien says the boy's name, and Trunks blushes a little, bowing to both Goku and Tien, and apologizing for his impertinence, even going so far as to call Tien Master. Goku laughingly asks what that's all about, and Tien explains that after he lost his arm, he thought he'd have to retire as a martial artist, but Bulma and Raditz decide to hire him as Trunks' martial arts instructor. Raditz beams that it's great. As well as learning how to be strong from him, Trunks is also getting an understanding of martial arts, so he'll never be outdone like the Saiyans were when they first came to Earth, even suggesting that as it stands, Trunks might be able to take Gohan in a fight. Goku smirks that his brother is dreaming. Has he forgotten that form Gohan pulled out in the Cell games? Even he couldn't match that. However, this makes Raditz sad, and he admits that he doesn't think Gohan can access that form anymore. In fact, he doesn't even know if Gohan still trains these days. Goku is floored by this, and Raditz hastily apologizes, saying that he tried to be there for his nephew since Goku was sent to Hell, but no matter what he tried, Gohan just grew more and more distant. Goku nods that he knows Raditz would have tried his best, and thanks him for being there for Gohan. The former Guardian then looks around as he feels two more strong powers approaching the lookout. It's Krillin and Nappa, rounding out the group. When they land, Krillin is the first to act, running up to his best friend. He smiles that he missed him, and Goku grins that the feeling's mutual. He then asks if he's been keeping up in his training, and Krillin says that he has, though he's pretty sure he's way behind all the Saiyans at this point. Nappa grins that he still wouldn't want to run into the little guy in a dark alley, but Krillin chuckles that Nappa's just saying that. Now it is Nappa's turn to greet Goku, and the pair of Saiyans clasp hands, with Goku asking what the bald man's been up to for the past 7 years. Nappa smiles that after the battle with Cell, he devoted himself to finding a form of power that doesn't require muscles or transformations, since even when he pushed himself to the max, he was no match for the monster. This led him to studying the spiritual side of martial arts with Roshi, and eventually he remembered hearing of a world Frieza had wanted to annex, that supposedly was inhabited by a race of monks with mystic powers. It took him ages to get there by pod, but it was well worth it, since when he arrived on planet Yardrat, he met a guru named Pabara, who taught him to truly master his spirit, and channel it into a number of abilities for both daily life and combat. Goku sighs that he wishes he could have undertaken the training with him, but Nappa chuckles that he isn't sure he could handle it, since it required a lot of stillness and meditation, things Saiyans aren't normally very good at. His brow then furrows, and in a solemn voice, Nappa asks if Goku ever encountered Vegeta or any other Saiyans in Hell. Goku replies that he did meet Bardock, but that's about it, though he does admit that in the early days of his team, he did seek out Vegeta hoping they could team up again, but no matter where he looked, he couldn't find the prince. Nappa asks what that could mean, and Goku shrugs that it most likely means Vegeta's already had his soul cleansed and been reincarnated, though it's possible that somewhere out there, Vegeta's alive. This makes Nappa smile, and he thanks Goku for sharing that with him. But before more can be said, Shin clears his throat, saying that now everyone is here, they have no time to waste in stopping Buu's revival. Shin suggests that in order to find the wizard Babidi, they'll need to trick one of the wizard's minions into siphoning some of their energy and leading them back to the villain's base. But Goku says that won't be necessary, since if Babidi and his cronies are on Earth, then his guardian powers should be able to locate them. The Supreme Kai admits that he didn't think of that, and Goku flashes him a grin before closing his eyes and focusing. It takes less than a minute for Goku to find the hideout, simply having searched for the most evil key on the planet, and with a smile, he tells his friends and family to follow him. After so long apart, it is exhilarating for the Z-Fighters to fly in formation again, even if several of their number are no longer with them. Before long, Goku, Gohan, Raditz, Trunks, Nappa, Krillin, Tien, and Shin land outside Babidi's ship. It is deadly still, and with a slightly furrowed brow, Raditz asks his brother if he's sure this is the place. With deadly seriousness, Shin replies that it definitely is, since up close he can feel Babidi's evil presence, as well as several other terrifying warriors, including the king of the demon realm, Dabura. Goku grins that Shin shouldn't sweat it, since he's already taken out one Demon King today, so what's another? But the Supreme Kai vehemently tells him that if he underestimates Dabura, it will surely mean death for him and all his friends. Nappa asks why they can't just blow up the ship from out here, but Shin says this is out of the question, since such force might cause Buu to awaken, and then the universe will be destroyed. This shuts the bald man up, and so with the utmost caution, the group approach the ship. As soon as they step inside, a hatch opens up in the floor, and a high-pitched voice that they all assume is Babidi's speaks to them telepathically. Smugly, the voice welcomes them all to his ship, and says that he is waiting for them at the lowest level of the vessel. However, to reach him, they will have to face 3 of his strongest fighters. At this, the full-blooded Saiyans and Trunks grin, saying that this keeps getting better and better, but this just amuses Babidi, who instructs them to head down the chute when they are ready, promising that their opponent in Stage 1 is already waiting for them. With varying levels of eagerness, the group descend through the hatch as Babidi instructed, and when they land, it is in a circular room with a strange lanky alien waiting for them. The alien proudly declares that he is Pui Pui, one of Master Babidi's top guys, second only to Dabura, before goading them all to come at him at once. Not that they'll stand a chance, even if they all fight together. Goku, however, declines this offer, saying it'll be more fair if they do these matches as one-on-ones, before asking who wants to play him in rock, paper, scissors for the right to fight Pui Pui. In unison, Shin and Pui Pui face fall, while Raditz, Nappa, and Trunks all say they'll play for a chance to fight. On the other hand, the humans step back, saying they don't think they're up for it anymore, while Gohan joins them, mumbling something about just getting in the way. This reaction from his son disappoints Goku, but nonetheless, he, Raditz, Nappa and Trunks all put their hands in the middle to begin their game. As luck would have it, Nappa wins on the third attempt, and so he is granted the right to fight Pui Pui. The alien jeers that one beefy bald guy can't stand a chance against the mighty Pui Pui, but is promptly proved wrong when a single punch from Nappa turns him into a stain on the wall. Growling with frustration, Nappa requests a redo, since he didn't realize the guy would be so weak, and he didn't even get to show off all the cool spirit control powers he's learned. The others laugh that maybe if one of them loses he can step in, but this was his fight, and it's not their fault that he finished prematurely. With a very steamed Nappa in tow, the group then move on to the second level. At first it seems like no one is here, but then from a side hatch, a great green monster with a foul odor steps into the room. In his raspy voice, the creature calls himself Yakon, and demands to know who his next victim will be. And Raditz, who has just won the next game of rock, paper, scissors, steps up, saying that he was just about to ask the same question. The two warriors then face off, with Raditz leaping forward at such speeds that he seems to vanish, before appearing above Yakon and dropping an elbow onto the beast's forehead. Yakon recoils in pain, and telepathically Babidi contacts his minion, asking him if he would like him to send this fight to the world of darkness so Yakon can have the advantage. Yakon eagerly agrees, and so moments later, the fighters all find themselves in pitch darkness. Yakon cackles that now the battle is all but won, since only he can see in this gloom. Using his surprising speed, he then leaps at Raditz and attempts to decapitate him with one of his extendable claws. The Saiyan is able to duck under this thanks to sensing the monster's energy, and with a note of panic in his voice, Yakon asks how this is possible. Smirking, Raditz replies that darkness means nothing to warriors who can sense energy. However, he would like to see the look on Yakon's ugly mug when he blows him away, so he might as well turn on the lights. He then powers up into Super Saiyan, and as the golden aura flares, Yakon gurgles that it looks delicious. To the side, Tien comments that this is an odd thing to say, but all becomes clear when Yakon begins to suck up the shining Super Saiyan aura. The monster then snarls that how will Raditz beat a foe who can eat all his energy, but instead of panicking, Raditz grins that Yakon can eat up, since he's got plenty to spare. In fact, thanks to his android heart, he has infinite energy. Yakon calls this a bluff. No one can have infinite energy, but Raditz smirks that if the beast won't take his word for it, he'll just have to prove it, and with a yell begins to power up to the max. As his Super Saiyan aura floods the room, everyone is able to see their new cavernous surroundings, but this is not what interests Goku. At the last second, just as Yakon is about to burst from all the ki now funneling into him, Raditz's aura takes on an electric quality, with arcing bolts of blue lightning emanating from the long-haired warrior. This makes Goku smile, and though his brother is not looking at him, he gives him an approving nod, impressed that someone else found that level. In a matter of seconds, Yakon explodes, and as the room returns to the way it was when they entered, Raditz allows his Super Saiyan state to drop, saying that all the guys in this ship are pushovers. Trunks beams that his dad is the coolest, and Raditz pats the boy's head, before turning to Goku and Shin, asking if they're ready to ascend to the next floor. Goku nods, and so when the way forward opens up, they head lower into the ship. Waiting for them at stage 3 is none other than the Demon King Dabura, who the Supreme Kai warned them about. In his deep bass voice, the Demon King demands to know the identity of the fool who sees fit to challenge him, and Goku tells him just a sec, before he and Trunks square up for a quick game of rock, paper, scissors. Sweat dropping at being ignored like that, Dabura watches as the Elder Saiyan beats his nephew, and so steps up to fight, while the boy goes to sulk in a corner, or at least the closest thing to a corner one can find in a round room. Goku then grins that he guesses he'll be fighting Dabura after all, inviting the demon to make the first move. Dabura leers that if he's going to underestimate him, it will be the last move, as he lunges at Goku. However, the former Guardian is able to catch the blow without trouble, and then retaliates with a knee to the gut. Dabura staggers back, and so Goku presses his advantage, moving in and delivering a few more body blows. Unwilling to be backed into a corner, Dabura waits for a gap between strikes and vanishes behind the Saiyan, hurling an energy blast which burns his back. Goku howls in pain, then spins around to face the demon again, leaping into the air and hooking a kick under his bearded chin to drag him up with him. The pair then begin a brief exchange of blows in mid-air, before breaking apart in preparation for the next salvo. Using his demonic magic, Dabura summons a wicked curved sword, which he levels at Goku. However, this only makes the Saiyan grin, saying that if Dabura's done with the warm-up, then sure, he's willing to fight him seriously. He then powers up to Super Saiyan, and drives a punch into the demon's cheek, which sends him reeling. Goku next fires off a beam barrage, and as each blast hits, they drive Dabura into the floor where he is pinned helplessly. As the barrage ceases, and the bedraggled demon is finally allowed to crawl out of the crater his body created, Goku whines that he thought Dabura was holding back, but if not, he might as well end this, since he doesn't want anything weird to happen like when it got all dark during Raditz's fight. He then begins charging up a Kamehameha, and though Shin yells at him to stop, since such an attack could wake Buu, it is already too late as Goku opens fire, destroying Dabura, the floor he's standing on, and even Babidi on the next level down. The entire ship shakes under the force of this blast, and when Goku finally floats down to his allies, Raditz lambasts his little brother for getting too caught up in the fight and forgetting why they're here in the first place. Scratching the back of his head and giggling with faint embarrassment, Goku admits that it kinda slipped his mind, but at least Dabura is dealt with. Shin nods gravely at this, sighing that they can only hope that Kamehameha did not wind up unleashing the very evil they came here to prevent. The warriors then descend into the wreckage of Babidi's inner sanctum, bracing themselves for what they might find. Thankfully, all they see is stillness, until a faint rattling from behind a burned doorway catches their attention. Moving as one, they approach the door, and inside they find a large pulsating egg. A shiver runs down Shin's spine as he breathes that this is really the container of Majin Buu. Nappa asks if he wants them to squash it, but the offer is premature when the source for the rattling sound makes itself known as Buu's egg rocks back and forth. Terror in his voice, the lilac-skinned Kai shrieks that it's too late, and at that exact moment, the rim of the egg bursts open. From it erupts a gout of pink steam, and with a scoff, Trunks asks if this is all Buu is, a big pink fart. But Shin, still panicked, tells the youth not to be flippant, since he is about to witness the greatest terror this universe has ever known. And good to his word, the smoke does begin to coagulate, slowly but surely taking a humanoid form, so that soon our heroes are face to face with a terrifying Majin Buu, and as the menace stares back at them, no one can quite believe their eyes. Majin Buu, the destroyer of worlds, nightmare of the Supreme Kais, is a big pink fatso with a baby face and a floppy tentacle instead of hair? This is it? Hardly what one would call intimidating. The heroes begin to express these sentiments, smiling that Shin got worked up about nothing like with Dabura and Babidi, but the Supreme Kai protests that they must destroy Buu now, before he goes on a rampage. Buu, who has been standing around staring into space since the encounter began, looks over at the Kai when he hears his name, and points to himself with one mitten-clad hand, as if asking whether Shin really means him. Shin shrieks when Buu's eyes fall upon him, and he starts to back away, but Goku laughs that he's overreacting as he steps between them and extends a hand for Buu to shake. After a moment of confusion, Buu obliges, smiling that his name Buu, who Orange Man. Goku introduces himself and his friends, before telling Shin that he should come over and say hi, since Buu's not such a bad guy. Shin, however, will not be convinced, saying that this monster is the one who killed his brethren, and absorbed his friend and mentor, the Grand Supreme Kai. Goku nods that this is pretty bad, but maybe Buu's changed after being asleep for so long. After all, he's always in a better mood after a nice long nap. Those who know Goku laugh that this is such a him thing to say, while Trunks sweat drops that his dad never mentioned Uncle Kakarot was a moron. Nappa then cuts in, saying that he has an idea. Why not allow him to try one of the Yardratian techniques on Buu, specifically Force Spirit Fission, which may allow him to extract this Grand Supreme Kai from within Buu. Shin says it's worth a try, but is still uneasy, and so insists that they do it in a controlled environment. Goku offers the lookout, and Shin nods that that would be acceptable. The former Guardian then looks back at Buu, saying that they're all going to go somewhere together and he wants Buu to follow them. Buu asks if there will be candy there, and Goku grins he's sure they'll be able to find him some candy. Buu excitedly claps his hands that he wants candy now, and Goku tells him that he can have some as soon as they arrive, but he has to promise to stay close to them the whole way up. Buu agrees, and so Goku, followed by the rest of the Z Fighters, Shin, and Majin Buu head up to the lookout. When they arrive, Goku tells Buu to stand in the center of the lookout's courtyard and let his friend Nappa do his work. Buu petulantly protests that he wants candy now, and Goku chuckles that he guesses he did promise that. Gohan says he'll get it, and so slinks out of sight, even his movements conveying a world weariness that troubles Goku. And so saying that he's gonna get some candy for Buu as well, the Saiyan follows his son. Cornering him in the kitchen, Goku says that he and Gohan need to talk. Gohan cocks his head, and Goku tells him that he can't go on like this, blaming himself for what happened to him and Chi-Chi at the Cell Games. Sorrow fills Gohan's glassy eyes, and he asks how he's supposed to not blame himself, when if not for his weakness, his mum would still be alive, and Goku wouldn't have had to throw away his freedom to come save him. Goku lays a hand on his son's shoulder, and with a soft smile says that both he and Chi-Chi made their own choices, and they did it because they love him and want him to have a long and happy life. The last thing either of them wanted was to be chains weighing down his spirit, and if that's what they did, then he's sorry. By the end of his little speech, tears are running down Gohan's cheeks, and so Goku pulls him into a hug, telling him that everything is alright. He's here. Between sobs, Gohan apologizes for losing his way, but Goku just pats him on the back, saying that he's not mad that Gohan got lost. He's sad that his actions caused his son so much pain, and more than that, he's proud that Gohan's finding his way back. Unfortunately, this moment is cut short by Trunks, who pops his head into the kitchen and tells the two men to come outside quick, since he thinks Nappa screwed up. Goku and Gohan followed the black-haired boy into the courtyard, and lo and behold, something is definitely wrong. Buu is emitting a lot of pink smoke, just like the stuff that came out of the egg, and when Raditz runs over to brief them, he explains that the moment Nappa pulled the Grand Supreme Kai out of Buu, the stuff just came bursting out of him like steam out of a kettle. Snapping into leader mode, Goku asks if anyone knows what the steam is, primarily directing his question at Shin as the Majin Buu expert of the group. However, the Supreme Kai is freaking out, saying that he never should have allowed this to happen, and when Goku snaps at him to focus, Shin pulls himself together just enough to say that without the Grand Supreme Kai's good influence, Buu will be reverting back to the muscle-bound monster he was when he attacked the sacred world of the Kais eons ago. By now the pink smoke has completely enveloped Buu, and so everyone retreats to the edge of the lookout so they can get a better look at what's about to emerge. It is only now that Goku sees the rotund figure with a striking resemblance to Shin, who must be the Grand Supreme Kai. This is hardly the time for introductions, and so he keeps his eye on the place Buu must be. Finally the smoke begins to dissipate, and from it comes jolts of pink electricity, as well as the sound of laughter, though this voice is much lower pitched than Buu's childish one. Then, from out of the smoke steps a much taller, leaner, and more muscular Buu. Super Buu has been reborn. Buu then snarls that Goku didn't bring him candy like he promised. But no matter, Buu will just make him into candy instead. The Jin then fires a candy beam at Goku, but the Saiyan is able to power up into Super Saiyan and deflect the beam with a blast of his own. This only infuriates Buu, who screams that if the heroes will not be candy for Buu, then they will be corpses when he destroys them. He then lunges at the group, eager to sate his hunger for battle, even if his physical hunger cannot be yet met. Raditz and Trunks power up into Super Saiyan like Goku has, while Nappa uses spirit control to double his size without increasing his bulk. Krillin tries to join them despite lacking any transformations, while Tien, being the sensible one, simply escorts the Kais away from the fighting, so Buu cannot consume them. Gohan tries to power up into a Super Saiyan rage state, but after 7 years of trying to numb his own pain, such strong emotions don't come as easily as they used to. This leaves him feeling impotent and useless once again, only feeding into the demons that have been plaguing the young man. Buu spots this weakness, and so targets Gohan, stretching an arm out to deliver a fatal punch to his throat. Thankfully, Goku spots this, and so extending his power pole, smacks into Buu's arm, splitting it in half and saving Gohan. Urgently, Gohan apologizes for being such a burden, but his father firmly tells him to keep his mind on the battle. The Saiyans then all converge on Buu as one, battering him with a coordinated volley of punches and kicks that actually seem to agitate the margin. So much so, in fact, that he decides to pull out his ace in the hole. From behind them, Buu's severed arm then floats up into the air and shoots at the Saiyans, opening up to become a bubblegum maw eager to consume one of them. As the only one not currently engaged with Buu, Krillin steps up to deal with the pink projectile, and so fires a series of blasts into the part of Buu which was once an arm. However, all Krillin's blast managed to do is make small pinpricks in the pink goo, and before the human can even scream, the massive goopy flesh is upon him, coating him and then consuming him. The Saiyans scream Krillin's name, but it's already too late, as the blob then flies into Buu, melding with him. Buu's power then spikes exponentially, as his form shifts to include an elongated head tentacle and Krillin's turtle skull tunic. Now everyone understands why Shin is so afraid of this monster, since by simply absorbing the weakest member of their group, he has grown to a level unlike anything the heroes have ever seen. Nappa, knowing that this is a losing battle, splits himself in 4 and grabs onto Trunks, while his clones grab Goku, Gohan, and Raditz. As one, the 4 Nappas then each use instant transmission to get them all out of there, locking onto Tien's power level, and hoping he and the Kais have found them somewhere safe to regroup. As it happens, Tien's chosen hiding place is Kame House, a wise choice all things being equal. When the Saiyans arrive, Master Roshi waddles up and wraps Goku in a hug, saying that he never got a chance to say goodbye last time, or tell him how proud he is of the warrior he became. Goku apologizes for this oversight, saying that he's happy to see Roshi too, though he wishes it were under better circumstances. Roshi nods gravely, then says the Z-Fighters are welcome to use his home as a sanctuary for however long they need. Here Shin sighs that hiding won't do them much good, since Goku will need to return to the other world in a matter of hours, and even if he didn't, leaving Buu unchecked will surely mean doom for Earth. Gritting his teeth, Goku says that in that case, there's nothing to do but fight, calling it his last act as Guardian. Shin reminds Goku what will happen if he dies while already dead, and the Saiyan proudly states that he doesn't care. He's not going to stand by and let others suffer if he can help them. This declaration heartens the other warriors, with Raditz, Nappa, Trunks, Tien, and Gohan all declaring that they're with Goku. Goku smiles that this is great to hear, since he doesn't have a clue how they're meant to beat Buu. Roshi suggests that they try the Mafu Bar, but the now reunified Nappa sighs that he doesn't think any of them have the power to seal Buu without dying in the process. A grim mood sets in among the group, with everyone knowing that if they go with this plan, it'll be a one-way trip for one of them. However, everyone here is willing to give their life for Earth, and so has decided that they will try it. Raditz immediately forbids Trunks from joining them in this battle, but the boy has inherited his mother's temper, and so begins to yell at his father that he is a Saiyan warrior just like him, so he should be able to fight. This quickly descends into a screaming match between father and son, and while this is going on, Gohan approaches Shin to request a favor. Shin, who still has a great deal of fondness for the young man after their time studying together, asks what Gohan needs, and Gohan requests that Shin make him new clothes, like he did when they were on the sacred world of the Kais, though this time he would like to have the same outfit his dad is wearing, except with the kanji on the breast changed from Guardian to Successor. Shin nods that this should be easy enough, and so with a wave of his hand, transforms Gohan's clothes into Goku's blue gi and white robes as requested. Gohan thanks Shin for this, but the Supreme Kai stops him, asking if he would also like him to remove the burn scars lining Gohan's arm from when Super Saiyan Rage tore away at his body. Gohan smiles that he appreciates the offer, but declines, choosing to keep them as a memento of his past mistakes, and those he lost because of them. Though, he thinks after years of trying to cover them up, he's finally ready to show them to the world. Shin nods that in that case, he would not dare to change them, allowing Gohan to return to his family and get ready for the counterattack. Ultimately, it is decided that Tien, Shin, and the Grand Supreme Kai will stay at Kame House, while Goku, Gohan, Raditz, Nappa, and Trunks will go to the lookout. However, Trunks will not engage Buu directly, with his job being to provide covering fire from afar. It is also understood that if something goes wrong, he is to return to Kame House and alert Tien and the Kais at once. With everyone clear on their roles, the Saiyans head off to what will be their final confrontation with Buu, one way or the other. Buu is waiting for the heroes when they arrive, having already decimated much of the lookout by turning its trees and cobbles into candy. When he sees them, the pink menace licks his lips that all that candy has made him thirsty, so now he's going to turn them all into soda and drink them up. Raditz growls that he'd like to see Buu try, then with a yell, begins transforming. Like usual, he powers up to Super Saiyan, but this is not where he stops, pushing further beyond to reveal Super Saiyan 2, with arcing lightning now dancing through his golden aura. Goku smiles that he thought he saw his brother reach that form during the fight with Yakon, and with a grunt, powers up to Super Saiyan 2 as well. Raditz's jaw hits the floor when he sees this, demanding to know how this is possible when he had to strive for ages to unlock this form. Giggling a little, Goku says that after spending the better part of a decade fighting the worst hell has to offer, he has developed a few new tricks to stay ahead of the curve. A little miffed that his big reveal was undercut, Raditz admits that he does actually have a form beyond this, and so with a mighty scream begins powering up further. His already wild hair grows longer, his eyebrows disappear, and with a final yell, Raditz reveals Super Saiyan 3. Everyone is awed by this power. Everyone except Goku, who says that yeah, he unlocked this too, though he's impressed Raditz managed without being dead, since he figured it would take the infinite energy of Otherworld to draw out something like that. Positively seething now, Raditz reminds his brother that he has an infinite energy engine thanks to his heart transplant from Android 16. Goku laughs that he forgot about that, then grins that he wonders if it'll allow Raditz to keep up with him in this form. Goku then performs a long world-shaking scream of his own, and in a flash of light, he too becomes a Super Saiyan 3, with his new long hair making his resemblance to Raditz all the more striking. The brothers then size each other up, comparing hair length and brow depth, but from behind them, Nappa demands to know why these two knuckleheads didn't use this form in the first fight with Buu. Goku admits that he was worried it might cut his time on Earth, but now that they have a plan, it doesn't really matter. Raditz smirks that at least that's one area he has Kakarot beat, and Goku chuckles that in that case, why don't they make it interesting? Whoever defeats Buu first is the superior warrior. Raditz grins that he's on, and so has won the pair of Super Saiyan 3's leap at Buu. Nappa and Gohan follow close behind, with Trunks doing as he's told and attacking from afar. However, Buu is ready for this, and using some of the new strength and intelligence he gained from Krillin, targets Nappa first, deeming his spirit control power to be the biggest threat, after they already radically altered him once. A single punch is all it takes to send the bald Saiyan crashing through the floor of the courtyard and into the bowels of the lookout. However, this leaves the monster briefly vulnerable, an opportunity which both Goku and Raditz capitalize on, appearing behind Buu and each delivering a spin kick to the back of his head. The force is enough to split Buu in two, but even this is not a fatal blow for the margin, as he simply reconstitutes into two smaller Buus and begins fighting Goku and Raditz individually. Gohan tries to help here, firing a pair of Kamehamehas at the Buus, but in his base form, the blasts do little more than irritate the pink monsters. In this halved state, Goku and Raditz are able to fight the Buus evenly, even having a slight upper hand. However, this Buu isn't just smarter and stronger thanks to absorbing Krillin, he is also wilier, and so puts this to good use by using Solar Flare on the brothers when they least expect it. Goku and Raditz recoil, and in this vulnerable state, Buu prepares to absorb them too. Trunks and Gohan try desperately to save their fathers, combining their strength for a cousin's double sundae, and for one brief moment they think they have succeeded as the blast blows the Buus to chunks. However, this victory turns to ash in their mouths when the goopy globs immediately reform into a single complete Buu. This Buu has no trouble absorbing the staggered Saiyans, first Raditz, and then Goku soon after. At once, Buu's power skyrockets to a level that makes his previous state seem negligible, as two mighty warriors, one carrying God Ki and the other an infinite energy engine, unwillingly lend their strength to the margin. Horror fills Gohan and he falls to his knees, but in contrast, Trunks is filled with white-hot rage, and ignoring his father's orders, he charges at Buu, declaring that he will be the one who kills him. It is a brave effort, a brave, foolish effort. It takes Buu no time at all to extend a hand and absorb the boy as soon as he is in range, and with his cousin now lost as well, Gohan finds himself completely alone. From where he is standing, Buu begins to cackle that victory is his, this world is his, everything is his, since no one can stand against the great Majin Buu. However, his monologue is cut short by Gohan, who in a small trembling voice says that he will stop him. This only makes Buu laugh harder, as he declares that he has seen the memories of everyone he has absorbed, and Gohan is no threat to him. He then shifts his face into that of Goku's, and in the former Guardian's voice taunts that in the fight against Frieza, Gohan was too weak, and Goku had to save the day. In the fight against Cell, Gohan was still too weak, and Goku had to save the day again. Goku's gone now, so who's gonna save the day this time? Voice no longer shaking, Gohan replies, "I am," as this final insult to his father's legacy allows him to reawaken the fury he had buried under years of sorrow. The young man's hair then shines golden, and as he rises to his feet, his eyes are blank, and his power is immense. He has finally rediscovered Super Saiyan Rage. A drop of sweat forms on Buu's brow at this, but he continues to keep up his bravado, ensuring this is just another Super Saiyan form, and he's beaten stronger Super Saiyans today already, so now he'll do it again. However, it seems that Gohan disagrees. As quick as a flash, he appears in front of Buu, punching clean through him and declaring, "No, now you'll die." The Half Saiyan then delivers a roundhouse kick which sends Buu flying, before dashing forward and delivering an elbow drop to slam the Jin into the ground. Buu tries to retaliate, swinging punches wildly in his fury at being humiliated, but Gohan catches each of them and gives a few back in return to really rub salt into the wound. Finally, Buu collapses under the weight of these blows, and in a ragged voice, the Majin demands to know what sort of monster Gohan is. In response, Gohan readies a Kamehameha, feeling the strength of all the people he loves behind him, as he proudly declares that he's a Saiyan, he's an Earthling, and he's the guardian of this world. The young hybrid then opens fire, and Buu rallies the last of his strength for a counterattack. If he can just deflect this blow, then Gohan will be spent and he can absorb him too, meaning that he truly will be invincible. However, before he can act, a gruff voice from beneath him snarls, "Not so fast." Looking down, Buu sees that he is on the edge of the hole he made when he punched Nappa, and the bald Saiyan now has a grip on his ankle. That dirty sneak Gohan planned this all along, didn't he? In a ringing voice, Gohan cries for Nappa to do it now, and the Elder Saiyan complies, channeling the last of his strength to use Force Spirit Fission on Buu. Buu feels all the warriors he's absorbed tumble out of him, and begins to panic, not knowing what he'll become next. However, the answer to that is very simple. Buu will become dust, as without the stolen strength of his victims, he is unable to withstand Gohan's godly Kamehameha, and is completely obliterated. It takes only an instant for Buu to die, but the moments that come after feel like centuries, as the Z-Warriors wait to see whether the monster will reform. When he doesn't, smiles and laughter begin to break out among the group. Everyone begins to hug and cheer at the defeat of Majin Buu, and before long, Tien, Roshi, Shin and the Grand Supreme Kai join them on the lookout to take part in the festivities. Alas, all good things must come to an end, and before long Baba appears as well, and tells Goku that because he used his Super Saiyan 3 state, his time in the living world has expired. Goku nods his understanding, saying goodbye to his loved ones for good this time, while behind him, the two Kais urge him not to be sad, with the Grand Supreme Kai even promising to share his secret technique with Goku if he wants. However, before Goku and the Kais can depart, Mr. Popo steps out of the Lookout's central building and asks if he can do one last thing before Goku goes. Rolling her eyes, Baba says she'll allow it, but he better make it quick. Popo promises that he will, then pulls out the Staff of the Guardian. Goku chuckles that he's flattered, but it doesn't seem right for him to have it since he's not Guardian anymore, a claim which Popo surprisingly agrees with. The genie then turns to Gohan and asks if he meant what he said before destroying Buu. With deep solemnity, the young man nods. Then, in the presence of his smiling family and friends, Gohan finally picks up the staff, beginning his long overdue guardianship and ushering in a bright new age for planet Earth.